From rising from nothing to becoming a household name in Hollywood to deciding to stick to more meaningful indie films, here's everything you need to know about Johnny Depp quitting Hollywood. Depp had a pretty difficult time reaching the star status he has today. If the trial revealed one thing about the actor's childhood, it's that it was pretty subpar. Nevertheless, with all odds against him, Johnny worked hard to make the shift from being an indie actor to becoming a major box office star. It wasn't easy though. In fact, Disney was still iffy about whether Depp was the right fit for the role of Jack Sparrow. It was only after Pirates of the Caribbean became such a big hit that the casting directors were sure of their choice. And of course, a lot of it had to do with the immense love and support that Johnny received from his fans. They played a big role in getting him where he is today. The movie gave him his big break, and since then, he's been pretty much unstoppable. In fact, Johnny got so much fame in such a short span of time that he was actually freaked out by it. Adorable. Since then, he's appeared in multiple blockbusters like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Alice in Wonderland, and Fantastic Beasts. He's got immense range, and he's so good at what he does that you just wouldn't believe that the same actor played all these characters. Johnny worked hard to build a solid reputation for himself, and for decades, he marveled in his fame. Unfortunately, with the highs come the lows, and in Johnny's case, it was pretty much a nosedive into despair. Yep, I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. You have to be living under a rock if you don't know about his recent case against his ex-wife, Amber Heard. For months, it was all that the internet could talk about. According to Amber, the Pirates of the Caribbean star abused her throughout their marriage. In an instant, Johnny was villainized as everyone rushed to support Amber. Of course, Johnny denied the claims and slapped Amber with a defamation lawsuit. The pair's legal battle was very public, and in the end, the jury sided with Depp, awarding him over $10 million in damages. But there have been two camps ever since Heard went public with her allegations. Amber loyalists pretty much hate Johnny and think that he's vile and abusive. Similarly, those on Depp's side carry the same sentiments for Amber, who they think was actually the abusive one in the relationship. But while the court of public opinion mulled over how things really unfolded, businesses had to act fast, and unfortunately, most of them decided to cut all ties with Depp. Take the Fantastic Beasts series, for instance. Johnny was asked to resign from the film, which only fueled the controversy. And I guess it makes sense, they didn't want to be associated with an actor who had such negative publicity. Better safe than sorry, right? But the trial and the constant hate had a horrible impact on Johnny's mental health. He was physically and emotionally drained, and boy did it show. In the end, even though he won the defamation case, he still got defamed and lost work opportunities too. So many people are still uncertain about whether he's innocent, and they look at Johnny with suspicion and apprehension. Nothing like the love and support he's used to. So I guess it makes sense that Johnny wants to get away from Hollywood. In a recent interview, Johnny was asked if he felt betrayed for being boycotted by Hollywood. I mean, Depp was pretty much canceled until the verdict for the trial came out. For some, he still is. And he acknowledged that, noting how the concept of innocent until proven guilty has been pretty much tossed aside. The actor admitted that he did feel snubbed by Hollywood. In particular, he mentioned an incident where he was asked to resign from a film because of Amber's allegations of domestic abuse. He was most likely talking about one of the spin-offs of the Fantastic Beasts series, because they were one of the firsts to leave his side in 2020. But Johnny claimed that he no longer felt boycotted by Hollywood, because now he simply doesn't think about Hollywood. In fact, he went as far as saying that he just doesn't feel he needs it anymore. Yup, he's leaving Hollywood, but rather than quitting, I'd say he's walking out with his head held high. He's adamant about getting his opinion across, and he's been pretty vocal about how much he hates cancel culture. And taking into account everything he went through these past couple of years, I don't blame him. The Alice in Wonderland star thinks the media has a huge role to play in things like this because they pretty much fuel the fire and tend to exaggerate things. I mean, we've all been clickbaited our fair share of times, right? Depp slammed the media, saying that most of the news they churned out was fantastically, horrifically written fiction. Ouch! Nevertheless, it seems that Johnny is all set on walking out of Hollywood after a stellar career. All in all, it really seems like he's moving on. With his legal battle in the rearview, the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory star has moved to London. During the defamation trial, he was living there with his friend, Jeff Beck. Unfortunately, Beck passed away, but Johnny remained in the UK, switching between staying at hotels and crashing with friends. And he seems happier. According to an insider, Johnny is just exhausted from all the hubbub and craziness in the States. Again, this might have something to do with how public his trial was. People in the States either love or hate him, and the anxiety this carries must be draining. Even though London and Paris are pretty busy, Johnny still feels like he can relax there and let his creative juices flow. The insider added that Johnny finds the European lifestyle a bit more his speed. Good for him! Johnny still hasn't found a full-time residence in London, but for now, it seems like he's not leaving anytime soon. He's definitely not returning to Hollywood for one. And it's not just Johnny that's running away in search of peace. Even Amber has decided to step back from the public eye after the trial. Although most people think she was also shunned from Hollywood, Amber also quit and moved to Madrid in search of a new life. She moved to Spain with her young daughter, Una, and the duo seem pretty happy together. Amber is bilingual and speaks fluent Spanish, so it makes sense she chose Madrid to peacefully raise her daughter away from all the noise and public scrutiny. Amber and Una were recently spotted at a park in Madrid, and it seems like Amber is thrilled to be playing the role of a doting mother. For now, at least. According to an insider, the actress is open to returning to Hollywood if the right opportunity comes along. I don't know about that though, because it seems like she's pretty much wrapped up all business in the States. She even sold her California home last July. Plus, Amber has been pretty much MIA since the trial, as compared to Johnny, who started making public appearances pretty soon. She hasn't worked in any major film since 2021, when she finished filming Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. All in all, it seems like she's pretty much stepped back from the entire film industry. So is Johnny doing the same? Is he also quitting acting altogether?
I need those chalices.
Shoot. Save me the bother of the fall.
You will go. You will return. Or I will kill her.
It seems not. In fact, he's already made a comeback with an indie film that got a 7-minute standing ovation at Cannes. The French film features Depp playing the role of King Louis XV. It's his first movie since Minamata, which was released back in 2020. Needless to say, Johnny received a lot of support from fans all over the world, but the victory was bittersweet. There were still a lot of people who weren't rooting for him. Amber's supporters were absolutely disgusted by the idea of Johnny appearing at Cannes. They criticized him and started the hashtag #CanYouNot campaign on social media. However, it seems like Johnny wasn't too concerned with his perception in the industry. I guess he's found peace after choosing to step back from Hollywood, and as always, he's fighting against all obstacles. The actor started his comeback tour as soon as the verdict came in his favor. He made public appearances at the VMAs, as well as on Rihanna's Savage X Fenty show. Most importantly, he returned as the face of Dior's fragrance, Sauvage. The French luxury giant was one of the few businesses that stuck by Johnny's side through all the chaos. In a controversial move, they signed him to a gigantic $20 million contract, the highest in the history of men's fragrance. So it seems like Johnny is still open to working in indie films, despite deciding to quit Hollywood in particular. And it makes sense. Even in the past, the actor has been vocal about how he prefers small-budget indie films over blockbusters. According to him, working with the studios is much more difficult than his other, less expensive movies. And it seems like Johnny is finally putting himself first. So from deciding to limit his work to indie films to his rise to fame in Hollywood, that's all I've got today for why Johnny Depp is quitting Hollywood.